afternoon. All right, time to get started. Good afternoon. My name is Erica Blackwell. I'm the Chief Communications Officer for the City of Gary. And on behalf of the Office of the Mayor, I want to welcome all of you to the City of Gary on this chilly afternoon. During our press conference today, we're delighted to welcome Representative Director and Vice Chairman of Nippon Steel, Takahiro Mori. Vice Chairman Mori and Mayor Eddie Melton will be making remarks on the pending sale of U.S. Steel to Nippon Steel and discussing the impact this will have on our city. With that, I would like to welcome the Mayor of Gary, Eddie Melton.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to just thank everybody for coming out. Like Erica mentioned, on this brisk Midwest morning or afternoon, this is an important conversation that we're going to have today, and I think it's very appropriate that we highlight where we are right now. So I want to thank Mr. Mori-san and his entire team that traveled from Japan to Washington, D.C., to right here to Gary, Indiana with us this afternoon. Many of you are very aware of the pending transaction that's taking place with U.S. Steel as well as with Nippon Steel, and I'm coming to share my perspective on this and my support for this deal and why it's important for the city of Gary. As you see behind me, we have some very important individuals that matter probably the most in this situation, and it's the workers, United Steel workers, that are standing with us today. So let's give them a hand and thank them for being here with us. We welcome Nippon Steel today here at City Hall, this beautiful facility, a building that sits right in the shadows of U.S. Steel. We know that in 1906, U.S. Steel founded the city of Gary. And if it was not for that entity, we would not be here today. So when you flash back over the years, when you had Eastern Europeans and individuals from all over the world that migrated to Gary to work in our steel mills, that same vibrancy is still here today in terms of that grit and determination. Or whether it was individuals that migrated from the South, from Mississippi or Alabama, like my family, that was seeking employment or seeking job opportunities in United States Steel, they found it and they put their roots down right here in Gary, Indiana. But that's what we're about. We're about the families, we're about the integrity of what this city was built on and the extreme importance of this deal that's right here taking place right before our very eyes. Now, this is not about just Gary, Indiana. There are communities like Birmingham, Alabama, Mon Valley, Pittsburgh that are wrestling with the fate of this deal. When I first heard about this deal, like many, and I say this respectfully, I was skeptical as well. I wasn't sure what their fate was going to look like for the city of Gary. I was uncertain on what was the next direction we will go into as a country as it make to this decision. For the city, the partnership would mean so much, and we'll talk a little bit more about that partnership and why we think it's important. So the process that works out, President of the United States, he has a committee, it's called the CFIUS Committee, that will be making a recommendation to President Joe Biden on whether or not they believe this deal has any national security concerns or issues. As I'm aware of, as of today, there has been no reports of any national security issues as it relates to this potential sale, which brings me to there shouldn't be an issue for us to allow one of our closest allies in Japan, that is a close ally to the United States, a company that has been in Indiana. Nippon has been in Indiana for over 50 years. That story has not been told. A lot of folks don't know that they have been operating in the United States for over 50 years. And I believe you have 2 plants in central Indiana that's been here as well. So we definitely want to acknowledge that. We know that in the beginning, 30,000 workers were at U.S. Steel. And right about now, I believe it's close to 4,000 workers. We know that Gary at its height had over 200,000 residents. And right now we're close to 70,000 residents. So Gary has had his fair share of impact of the downturn of the steel industry over the last several decades. So as the 22nd mayor of the city of Gary, I wanted to show my support for this effort because we have done our due diligence to make sure that it is the right thing for the citizens, it's the right thing for our economy, and it's the right thing for the United States. So as mayor, I'm here to help the members that are behind us, the leadership of the United Steelworkers, and encourage them to sit down at the table with Nippon to address any issues or concerns that they may have as it relates to this potential impending sale. So again, I just encourage all of the steelworkers that support this deal to encourage the leadership to sit with them. Right now, they're here with us in the city of Gary. I encourage them to continue that conversation and move forward. Currently, Nippon Steel is in the discussions to purchase U.S. Steel for $14.9 billion. This includes all of the U.S. Steel portfolios across the country. And when I first heard of this deal, like I mentioned, I've learned a lot since then. I spent several days in Washington, D.C. with the Nippon team. We met with several members of the congressional leadership. And I want to just point out a couple of congressional members, and I want to read a brief letter that was written from congressional members to President Biden just a few days ago. I want to thank Congressman Bennie Thompson, and I want to thank Congresswoman Maxine Waters that have been true champions for Gary, Indiana, and been true champions to make sure that our message is getting across to all those that's watching this deal across the country. And it says, "Dear President Biden, we write to express our serious concerns regarding the proposed merger between Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel and its potential impacts on American steelworkers, particularly those employed at U.S. Steel Gary Works in Indiana. This merger could profoundly affect thousands of hardworking union employees and retirees who have dedicated their entire lives in strengthening America's industrial foundation. For years, the city of Gary has shouldered the economic and environmental consequences of U.S. Steel's operations, enduring divestment, job loss, and diminished community investment. The steel industry decline has left a lasting mark on Gary, where citizens deserve security and assurance that their quality of life would not be further jeopardized. Mayor Melton of Gary has engaged in discussions with Nippon Steel, which has demonstrated a commitment to making substantial investments in Gary Works plant and preserving union jobs. In contrast, U.S. Steel's leadership has been unresponsive and indicated that a failed merger could lead to further plant closures, an unacceptable outcome for Gary's economy. We respectfully urge the administration to delay finalizing this merger to allow time for serious, in-depth negotiations with Nippon and U.S. Steel. We believe these negotiations should prioritize the commitments. And I'm going to summarize these very briefly because this is important. Then I'm going to ask Mr. Mori if he can come forward. Number one, job security. Protecting union jobs and honoring current labor agreements with United States steelworkers. Number two, local investment. Making substantial capital investments to improve facilities at Gary Works, ensuring competitiveness and environmental responsibility. And number three, environmental remediation. Implementing pollution controls to comply with EPA standards and protect Gary's air quality and public health. And tax equity and community support. Addressing inequities in property tax assessments that have shifted financial burdens onto Gary residents and committing to fair financial contributions that should support local infrastructures and services. These steps are critical to restoring fairness and ensuring that Gary and other impacted communities receive the support and recognition they deserve as a cornerstone of our nation's industrial success. We believe that these commitments in place, the merger will better align with our shared values of economic equity, environmental stewardship, and national security. Thank you for considering this request to secure a fair and sustainable future for Gary steelworkers and all stakeholders. We stand ready to support a careful and thorough review of this merger proposal, and that is from Congressman Bennie Thompson, Congresswoman Maxine Waters, And also, I received word last night that Congressman Jim Clyburn will be also signing on, among many other members of the Congressional Black Caucus. So with that being said, we are truly honored and blessed to have Mr. Mori here and the entire Nippon team that is going to share their vision of their purchase of U.S. Steel and their investments right here in Gary. So join me in welcoming Mr. Mori.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Good afternoon, and thank you for all being here. And I'm so pleased to be with you in the region today. I'm Takahiro Mori, Representative Director and Vice Chairman of Nippon Steel, and where I oversee the exciting partnership between Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel that we hope to create together. I want to thank Mayor Melton, who has been a vocal advocate for this deal, and for Fujas, is that right? Fujas. Fujas more broadly, and he always puts him constituents first, and which is why he feels so strong about the vision we have for U.S. Steel and Gary Works. Nippon Steel has been successfully, as Mayor mentioned, operating its business in the United States for more than 50 years. And now we have 8 operations in the United States with around 4,000 employees. Among them, we operate 3 companies in Indiana, working with around 600 employees in total. Nippon Steel started joint venture with Indiana Steel, Inland Steel in the 80s near South Bend. I understand that your former governor, Mitch Daniels, was instrumental in bringing a number of Japanese companies to the state. And we are proud to stand alongside with them in our strong commitment to Indiana. Since we announced the deal almost a year ago, I have made many visits to United States and U.S. Steel facilities, including multiple trips to Gary. And each time I walked the floor and met with employees and heard their stories, I was more and more confident that the U.S. Steel has a competitive strength to become the world leading steel maker. The core part of this is strength in people. Michael Jackson might be the most famous resident in Gary, but the men and women of Gary Works will build the future of the region. Those I have met are proud to wear U.S. Steel logo and passionate about delivering the best possible products and services to their customers. With Nippon Steel's investment and technology sharing, we will protect and grow facilities like Gary Works so that it continues to serve as the economic engine for Gary, Lake County, and the region for decades to come. While we look forward to a long and successful relationship with the employees and communities that support U.S. Steel, we are not asking them to take us at our word. We have already made a series of commitments that demonstrate our desire to strengthen the blast furnace operation like those here in Gary. We have been clear from the outset that there will be no job loss or plant closure because of this deal. If anything, we will need more steel workers to meet our vision for the future. We are not transforming jobs or production overseas. and we will protect U.S. Steel from unfair trade. We are not going to ship slabs from across the world to the United States. We believe steel is a local business, and the U.S. customers should receive products produced from slabs made in United States. We plan to invest no less than $1.4 billion through 2026 for facilities covered by the Basic Labor Agreement. This is far above and beyond the $1 billion capital expenditure committed that by U.S. Steel, the country committed. And it will not be used just for repair and maintenance. But what does this mean specifically for Gary? Quite a lot. In August, we announced another $1.3 billion investment commitment, which includes a $300 million investment to revamp Blast Furnace 14 here at Gary Works. Through the revamping, the facility's operational life is expected to extend by up to 20 years. Additionally, we will be relining and repairing 4 blast furnaces at Gary Works by 2030 to extend their useful life for years to come. We also plan to continue operation and maintaining Gary hot strip mill and cold strip mill, and that we will review the feasibility of revitalizing the tin plate mill. So our investment commitments total no less than $2.7 billion. Among these, almost $950 million, nearly $1 billion, will be allocated in Gary. We at Nippon Steel believe that this partnership will be the beginning of the bright near future at U.S. Steel. It is by all measures the path that minimizes uncertainty, maximizes investment, and delivers very real shared success to the people and who support this American company and deserve to see their loyalty repaid. On Tuesday, Nippon Steel announced its plan to provide a closing bonus to all the eligible employees, $5,000 for every U.S. employees to be paid soon after closing of this transaction. We have heard government officials and union argue that rank and file employees are rarely rewarded for their contribution in a large transaction such as these. And this bonus is meant to address that concern, while underscoring our commitment to the long-term shared success. With 4,500 U.S. Steel employees at Gary Works, this means roughly $20 million in total gross bonuses, coming straight to the local economy within weeks of the deal closing. I'm still hopeful that we can secure the support of the USW leadership because we want to partner with them to make U.S. Steel the best company it can be. However, nothing can change our unwavering belief that unionized labor has been and will continue to be the backbone of U.S. Steel, and that Nippon Steel is the best partner for achieving U.S. Steel's long-term success. And the men and women of Gary Works are central to this success. I want to sincerely thank everyone that has sought out more information, written letter to support, or answered questions from your colleagues and neighbors, every bit helpful. I am confident that we will successfully close this deal so that together we can support a prosperous future for U.S. Steel, where talented American workers are making steel products in America for Americans. Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Mori. I think we can clearly hear the investments that's going to take place right here in Gary. Nearly $1 billion that's committed, and the commitment to the workers, not only for now, but also into the future. So I respectfully ask and request that President Biden, before he leaves office, approves this sale before we can reach into the new year. That will put us on the right track. So with that being said, I'm gonna ask if there's any questions from our media outlets. I'll take a couple, but we wanna make sure, because we're on a tight timeline, that we can ask that conversations with Mr. Mori, we can pull off to the side, so make sure his time is respected as they get ready to head out. So Jackie, I'll start with you.
Okay, hello everyone. Hello, Mr. Mori. So will Nippon continue U.S. Steel's prime product right now of automobile industry? Is that line still going to be the main focus?
You wanna answer? Yeah.
Oh, well, we are keep providing our excellent products to automotive industries. Is that your question? Is it?
Yes.
Okay,
Will
yes,
that be
yes,
US
we will do that,
Steel?
Yeah. The Capital B, yeah. Okay.
Hi,
Go ahead.
I'm Janae Helman Margaret for Capital B. Gary. My question is, will Nippon Steel continue to use blast furnace technology? And if so, what is their response to environmental and health concerns from the use of blast furnace technology?
Right. And if I could share briefly, we just had a meeting with members of GUARD. I'm not sure if they're still in the room with us today, to talk about the environmental sustainability piece. And they made a commitment to make sure that that's going to be a priority in that effort. So I appreciate that conversation in making a cleaner steel-making process. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, can you expand upon the plans for the tin mill, and would that include the East Chicago tin mill potentially as well? And then also, is there any concerns this might be too little too late, given the reports that the Biden administration is poised to block this, and the next administration says they're going to block the transaction as well?
All right, let me deal with that first one, the last one. As it relates to the current administration, like I said, the president had an opportunity to pretty much end the deal already. We know that they're waiting on CFIUS to provide, that's the committee, to provide a recommendation on those national security processes. And as I mentioned earlier, there hasn't been any signs of any national security issues. So this gives us an opportunity, number one, to address any concerns that the steel workers may have that's lingering, that will help President Biden see that this is a good deal across the board for everyone. Now, as it relates to the incoming administration, I mentioned it before, but you can't tax your way or tariff your way to making it a stronger U.S. Steel. And that's the only solution that I heard from the incoming administration. I do believe that there's an opportunity. I believe the next president is very familiar with Gary. He'd had businesses in Gary. He understands the plight that Gary may have. So I'm willing to work with Mr. Mori and others to sit down with President-elect Trump to have that conversation to figure out how we can move forward.
What was the tin mill look?
You say East Chicago. This is
No,
not.
the Gary Works tin mill. Can you just expand upon the plans for? He mentioned they might revive the tin mill.
Yeah, I believe that's the plans to revive the tin mill is definitely on the table.
Yes, I think there is a big opportunity because currently the supply side, if you take a look at the supply side, it's decreasing. And after the next administration started, then he clearly mentioned that the tariff is going up. So I think there is a big chance for restart this tin plate mill and provide tin from Gary Works. That's our idea.
But you anticipate the market's going to come back for that?
Yeah,
All right. We want to thank everybody. Yes, sir, you got one last question.
Quick question for either of you gentlemen. Obviously, anytime there is, certain discussions about these kinds of deal stuff, there's obviously, people who might be skeptical, who might be concerned about the security of their job. You will talk a little bit about that. What can you maybe detail a little further to people who may be concerned about their job security or anything else how this might impact them directly here? Is there anything you can share on that?
Well, I think we need to be concerned if this deal does not happen. The current CEO stated that there will be plant closures. Let's start there, right? So I think hopefully that message reached the respective parties that helped make a decision. And I believe Nippon has been very clear that they want to honor the contract. They want to honor the pension obligations of the workers, the legacy workers of U.S. Steel. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, Mr. Mori, but I believe that they've stated everything that they will be committed to do to protect and preserve the jobs. All right. Thanks, everybody. We're going to, yeah.
Mr. Mori, in order to bring Blast Furnace 14 back online, what will that involve environmentally? The blast furnace, when you bring it back online?
Well, in a short time, nothing changed because it's currently operating, right? And we just want to make this lifetime, extend this lifetime 20 years or something. And also, during this 20 years, we are currently developing the technology for decarbonization. And we happy to bring this technology here in the United States and apply it to the Blast Furnace 14 also.
All right. Thank you.
So any interest in East Chicago tin or just the one in Gary Works?
You keep bringing East Chicago up, don't you? We're going to ask any questions after this. I want to thank everybody. We're getting ready to take a tour of the city of Gary. Thank all of our elected officials that came out. Thank all of our labor friends and family and all of the community leaders. And thank the media for coming to carry this important story. So thank you for coming out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for just a short time. But I have to go to close this deal. Thank you.
East Chicago tin, any interest in the nation?